Las Vegas is a city built on playing the odds, where winning and losing can seem like life or death. But beyond the city limits, the stakes are even higher. A daily barrage of explosive scenarios plays out against this vast landscape, as highly trained specialists use their brains and their brawn to fight an endless battle against the desert dangers. A stealth bomber unleashes a shower of deadly explosives. They rain down on an area 2 miles long and half a mile wide. Packed with 1,000 pounds of dynamite, these effects bombs are part of the annual war games played out at the Nellis Air Force Base fire show. It's held 40 miles outside Las Vegas, in a 3 million acre test range. A 1,000 member audience of generals, congressmen, and other VIPs have been bussed in for the event. But even they only get to see a fraction of the state-of-the-art arsenal wielded by Nellis Air Force Base. Their full artillery includes more than $1 billion worth of aircraft, such as these Black Hawk helicopters. The Black Hawks simulate a combat rescue mission in a little-known but vital role of the Air Force. If this were a real rescue mission, the helicopter might just be in the hands of Major Lee Harvis.
How you doing? Good.
Also known as Dr. Lee Harvis.
What's been going on today? No dizziness. Any headaches going on?
No.
Dr. Harvis is a flight surgeon, a doctor trained in aeronautical medicine. It's a specialty that explores how flying
Listen to your heart and lungs, okay? All right. Just pick up your shirt for me.
affects the human body.
Deep breath. And out.
But unlike most doctors working as flight surgeons,
Okay. Sounds good.
Lee Harvis knows about flying firsthand because he's also a pilot, one of 12 pilot physicians in the Air Force.
It's important to have pilot physicians in the Air Force because they have a real unique perspective. They know exactly what the stresses are. They don't have to see it, they don't have to guess it, they live it.
It took Dr. Harvis 18 years to become a pilot physician. He first began his military career after college with 1.5 years of aircraft training.
I flew as a pilot, active duty pilot, in the H-3 helicopter, the Jolly Green Giant, and served some time in Iceland, Florida, Korea, and then during Desert Storm. And then following that, went back to medical school. That's another 4 years.
After studying osteopathic medicine, he returned to the Air Force. He was assigned to Nellis Air Force Base, where he's Assistant Director of Operations for the 66th Rescue Squadron, an elite group of soldier medics. Major Harvis puts his life on the line in the name of medicine, and he's about to take off on his next mission. In the dangerous world of off-road racing, the Nevada desert makes an ideal track. Dozens of custom dune buggies, pickup trucks, and race cars rev around these bone-jarring courses in competitions that can last up to 5 days and stretch more than 1,000 miles through the wild terrain. These races average about 4 to 5 injuries per competition, And that's why racing safety is a top priority. Boulder City, Nevada.
Okay, this puts us about 49.5 on the course.
50 miles from Las Vegas.
Here that look pretty interesting. Got a high-speed road, nice well-graded road that they're coming down.
24 hours before the next race,
Right-hand turn.
safety experts Keith Jones and Gina Meredith go to work.
What do you think, Gina? You think they can hit the other bank?
I think it's a very good possibility.
Yeah, right up here.
They check out the northeast corner of this 60-mile track, a sharp turn with a potential for crashes.
Lots of little curves.
Keith and Gina stop at more than 24 places along the
Looks like right
course,
here. Oh yeah. This turns into
Where it's
instant
cut out.
poof.
pinpointing rough roads
Well rutted out.
and finding strategic spots to place the 7 volunteer medics and just 1 ambulance.
Go from running 60, 70, having to go down to 30 right through here. We're out here today just to take a look around, look for some hazards, see what our access points are. We need to be able to know where we can get our ambulances in and out of if we need to bring an ambulance out on the course, and of course what our better roads are so that we can minimize our response time to the different parts of the race course.
Keith is the owner of Sundance Safety, which oversees medical care at 60 races a year.
You know, right up here in front of the truck, it all of a sudden turns into sand wash,
Which is an ugly thing.
which is an ugly thing.
At tomorrow's KC Highlights special race,
Am I driving up
Keith
that?
is responsible for the care of more than 70 drivers. In a race that will last 7 hours and span 240 miles, the cars drive most of it after the sun goes down.
This is going to be an area that we're going to have a choke point for traffic with the guys racing back and forth. This is going to be an area we're going to have them doing a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be a dangerous area.
Yeah.
So Keith needs to be ready for a worst-case scenario.
This is one of our four-wheel drive safety units that we use both on the racetrack.
4-wheel drive trucks that can handle the rugged desert terrain.
Breathing equipment, such as a bag valve mask, suction unit, things like that.
Are fully equipped to handle everything from cuts and bruises to serious wounds.
It's just basically for when we go and it turns out to be a minor injury. We have blood pressure cuff, flashlight, some basic first aid supplies, some eye wash for dust in the eyes.
Sometimes a driver may be trapped inside a crashed race car,
We'll switch over to our spreader unit.
and Keith has to be ready with the jaws of life.
We would use this if, for example, a car was crushed in on somebody. You get crunched in, we have to be able to reach around the hips to push them back out. This is one of the only tools we found out there that can do that.
Rescue cutters chew through metal.
This is a piece of steel pipe that's very similar to what's used in race cars.
With 240,000 pounds of cutting force.
The material these cars are made out of is not a lot of match for these tools. But you can see how easily we can take a race car apart.
In car crashes, fire is also a hazard, so Keith and Gina test their firefighting equipment. A car fire could be fatal within minutes. They always aim to get a driver out in less than 30 seconds. Keith relies on his truck, which holds 75 feet of hose and 100 gallons of water.
Water.
Enough to last for just 2 minutes.
We want to be able to put the fire out quickly in case we can't get the driver out. If the driver's injured in a car, we don't want to compromise the driver because of a fire. We don't want to see anybody get burned.
Keith and Gina quickly bring the fire under control. But they know this is only one of the many dangers they'll face out on the race course tomorrow, when the lives of 78 fearless desert drivers will be in their hands. In the bone-dry Las Vegas desert, rainstorms can strike without warning, and sometimes with devastating results. September 8th, 1998. A flash flood traps 2 women in a car.
When we arrived there, we contacted our office, tried to get additional resources, other rescue personnel with safety equipment, but it was going to be too long of a time before they could get out there. So I was able to get them out one at a time under the hood, and then Ralph did another superior job of flying, and we were able to fly them to dry land.
Armed with 2 Huey helicopters, this elite unit answers the cries for help from people who have fallen prey to the desert dangers.
And we don't just sit around and wait for things to happen. We go out and look for trouble. We look to help people.
Good to go? Okay, go to work.
In the summer months, we're getting upwards around 105 to 115 degrees. They go out, no water, unprepared, not knowing what the heat is going to be, and they get themselves stuck or injured up in the hills.
Utilizing their skills in rock climbing, man tracking, and desert survival, the unit averages 125 rescues a year, almost 3 a week. They travel anywhere in the 8,000 square miles of Clark County, Nevada.
Las Vegas Search and Rescue is responsible for all of the surrounding area around the Las Vegas proper. Where the fire trucks can't get, where the ambulances can't get, where Flight for Life can't land is what we're responsible for. So 1039 Team 1 started the man tracking.
Headed by Sergeant Clint Bassett, the search and rescue unit has just 6 full-time officers, each a trained EMT intermediate.
This is the meat and potatoes of what we do.
One step below a paramedic.
We can do pretty much everything combined with the helicopter.
They are qualified to start IVs, handle fractured and dislocated bones, and clear airways.
Our medic bag, per se, is in the back of our truck. It's the first thing that we'll grab, and it's the most used item that's in this truck.
Only 10% of police departments in the country have these kinds of medically adept officers.
Further back, we have survival equipment for any victims we contact, something to treat and make sure that they can still breathe.
Who also know how to handle high-powered weapons.
What I have here is my AR-15, just a military-style 223 carbine rifle. Sometimes when people see police carrying guns performing medical, they don't really understand what's going on. We do go out into areas where we still have police responsibilities. We make contact with bad guys. We still get handcuffs and guns are necessary at times.
How you doing? Doing all right?
For serious medical emergencies, search and rescue officers rely on tactical doctors, volunteer physicians who leave their jobs in hospitals and emergency rooms
Okay, we got good breath sounds. Okay, let's go. Let's move it. Let's go.
to assist on life-threatening SWAT missions.
What we found is on numerous occasions, the tactical medics are limited in their scope of practice. The doctors give that added sense of credibility and also skill level, which enable us to save more people.
You're a regular physician and you see patients and you do this and it gets to be a routine.
How you doing? He's not talking to me.
Okay, all right.
This is a situation where you're surrounded by 30 guys that will die for each other. And that you can feed off of.
We're eastbound through the corner of the desert area.
Now, the search and rescue officers and the tactical doctors are heading into a hail of gunfire,
Still in a dirt road, going eastbound again.
bracing for another dangerous mission.
We're eastbound through the desert area.
20 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip at Nellis Air Force Base, Major Lee Harvis is about to fly into enemy territory. With Dr. Harvis at the controls, a 6-man crew from the 66th Rescue Squadron has been called out to recover a crashed pilot. These para-rescue men will rappel into hostile territory and use their medical expertise on the injured pilot. The para-rescue men are not just medics. They're a highly trained patrol force, the Air Force version of the Navy SEALs. Though based at Nellis, the 66th Squadron has traveled everywhere from Iceland to the Middle East.
The desert environment here is very close to the desert environment in Iraq, Kuwait, where we were based out of, Turkey, where we're based out of. And it gives us a good training environment for that.
Major Harvis locates the pilot in a stretch of empty desert and hovers directly above him. The para-rescue men begin their dangerous descent, fast roping 100 to 150 feet down to the ground. For the next 60 seconds, they are potential targets for enemy fire. First, they positively identify the crashed pilot to make sure he's one of their own. Then they assess the pilot's condition, making sure he's stable enough to carry with them. With their patient in tow, they rush back to the helicopter, where they can continue to administer medical treatment.
We can go ahead and do sutures, thoracic chest tubes, cricothyrotomies into the throat. So basically small surgical procedures, we can go ahead and do those things.
This time, it's just practice for the 66th Squadron. But the next real mission could happen any time. And when it does, Dr. Lee Harvis will be ready.
I'm a doctor first, and then I'm a pilot. You never stop being the doctor. And when you leave the squadron, well, you can't fly the helicopter, but you're always the doctor.
At 6 p.m., the KC Highlights Special Desert Race begins. 78 off-road racers are set to compete in this marathon 7-hour event. The cars take off one at a time. To win, they have to circle the unpredictable 60-mile course 4 times. It's a job that becomes even tougher as day gives way to night.
Nighttime is a different challenge. I mean, especially because as you run along, your lights get out of adjustment, you know, and you can't quite see. And we're still doing 110, 120 on some of the roads out there, you know.
120-mile-per-hour speeds mean that things can go seriously wrong. One missed turn or blown tire, and these cars could crash, resulting in broken bones, internal injuries, or death. To guard against those dangers, safety preparation begins 2 hours before the drivers cross the starting line.
This is going to be our place that we can hang out. If we're just doing some minor first aid stuff, we can do it under the tent rather than in the trucks where it's so hot.
Paramedic Keith Jones and safety technician Gina Meredith of Sundance Safety are in charge of medical assistance and prevention.
Put a Red Cross flag up on it so people know where we live at.
If there is a critical injury, drivers will be taken to a Level 1 trauma center in Las Vegas.
We're going to go pick out a reasonable LZ for you and mark it for you.
It's 45 miles by ambulance and only 25 by helicopter. So Keith has a Flight for Life chopper on hand.
We're here today to be prepared for any emergency situations, to fly to the trauma center or whatever hospital that they need us to fly to.
Exactly.
Working alongside Keith is a crew of 7 volunteers, all of them trained medics. The #1 priority is how to get around the race course in case of an emergency.
Okay, on your maps, dirt access roads are marked in yellow. Those include the open to the general public and racers, and which are marked with the dotted lines.
The team goes on standby at 3 different points along the race course.
Flights are set up to come in on channel 12. Okay, and
But they'll be in constant radio communication.
Channel, and if we need them, we'll go through dispatch via cell phone or via civil defense. So, you guys need me, give me a call up this way. I think that's where we're going to see our problems. It's going to be further south today, though. So.
Before they're authorized to race, every car is checked out.
On TV in my car. My job details is inspecting each race car, each race vehicle rather, for safety equipment, numbers, lights, seat belts, fire extinguishers, all the first aid kits. Can I see a date on the seat belt?
Inspector Art Saavedra was almost burned to death in a non-racing car accident.
Can I have all the helmets and suits on your hood, my desk? I was burned 85% 3rd and 4th degree burns. And what I do now is I use my burn to promote burn safety, burn prevention, and burn care.
With all the safety measures in place, the racers take off. But out on the desert track, nothing can protect them from the heat, the rough sand, or the intense competition they're going to face as they charge toward the finish line.
Control 3, George 12, 467.
On the outskirts of the Las Vegas desert,
Damn cops.
627, John Victor Mary.
5 miles from the nearest hospital. Police work can be as dangerous as it gets.
Hey, sir, how you doing? Officer Brown with Metro.
20 minutes from the strip.
All right, do me a favor, just stay right here. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Officer E.P. Brown makes a routine traffic stop. But as Officer Brown runs a vehicle check on the stopped car, the situation becomes anything but routine.
George 12, shots fired, code red. I'm in pursuit, southbound, Nellis Air Force Base.
Officer Brown pursues the speeding car for 1.5 miles.
Going eastbound again, back toward the mountain area, adjacent to the Nellis range.
And then attempts to contain the fleeing shooter.
Show me your head! Show me your head!
Within minutes, the SWAT team and the Las Vegas search and rescue team respond to his call. As tactical medics, the search and rescue crew goes out on 400 SWAT calls a year. While the SWAT officers pursue the suspect, the medics close in on Officer Brown. They check the severity of his gunshot wound.
Take a secure weapon.
And then they radio for help.
Okay, Joey, want to call in medevac? Go. We're going back.
SWAT medics carry Officer Brown to a medevac helicopter landing nearby. He'll be transported to a secure location. That's where the volunteer tactical physicians are waiting.
Ready? Yeah, got him. 1, 2, got him. What's going on? Going to the head.
Only 2% of SWAT teams in the nation have fully trained doctors on site instead of just medics.
All right, IV is now flowing on side.
You got it wide open?
Wide open, it's
Great.
flowing.
Can you give me another line?
The TAC docs monitor his wound and check that he has enough oxygen and
All
fluid.
right, your second line is in.
All of these doctors are on call
Turn up the IV.
Okay.
for 4 24-hour periods a month and get called out about 40 times a year.
A little bit of cardiac pressure. Okay.
You got it?
This time, it was just a training mission.
Okay.
But next time, it could be a real life or death emergency.
How you feeling? A little better?
A little better. A little bit.
I think I bought a little bit of time here.
The training today will help me in real life situation in that it helps me to think things out under stressful situations. I can think on my feet, take all the options I have at me, and try to make the best decision quickly in a timely fashion.
And some of the stuff has actually occurred where we'll practice for a warrant that's gone bad or a call out where multiple gunmen with multiple suspects. And stuff like that actually happens. And our preparation for that is shown through. We've been called some of the best in the nation for what we do here in Las Vegas.
This training mission is over. But the search and rescue officers are about to head into the desert on a massive search in the hills. "6:45 p.m. The high-intensity KC Highlights Desert Race is underway. The race is staggered, with 78 cars spread out along a 60-mile track of rugged sand and rock. To win, cars have to make it around this difficult 60-mile course 4 times. Safety experts Keith Jones, Gina Meredith, and a team of 7 volunteer medics are stationed around the course in case of an emergency.
Yeah, this road crossing 3 down here might be an interesting spot to look at.
They watch for crashes and potential safety problems.
We're just kind of hanging out, being available. The idea being that we want to be fluid out here on the race course. So because we've got so much area to cover, you know, we don't want to be static at one end of the course. Traffic been light through here? Or?
At 7 p.m., just 1 hour into the race, the first car has already fallen out without injury.
The 1650 car's off to a bad start here at the second pit. He's broken the mounts that hold his steering box on. The steering box is completely free, so he can't steer the car.
With temperatures pushing 100 degrees, engines can overheat, and tired drivers have to fight to stay focused. In these conditions, a major accident could happen anywhere, at any time.
We're going to pull up here a little bit close to the course and see if we can get some speeds on the guys in this area just to see how we're doing and just kind of watch this pit area for a little while.
Keith relies on his radar gun to make sure that drivers don't push their cars or themselves into the danger zone.
71 miles an hour. We use that to help enforce the safety rules because the pit roads, access roads have speed limits, you know, in order to keep everything safe. 57 for him.
By 7:30, the sun begins to set. As day gives way to dusk, the course becomes even more difficult to maneuver.
With darkness falling, it's changed the whole outlook of things. Navigation becomes more difficult. You don't see the familiar roadblocks or the familiar road marks that you're used to during the day. You know, the darkness covers up a lot. You know, right now the moon's not out yet, so there's really no light out here.
In a few minutes, it will be pitch black. The most dangerous part of the race is still ahead. One of the world's most elite flying squadrons is based at Nellis Air Force Base. The Thunderbirds. Sky-high daredevils who court danger at every turn.
We are the most visible squadron in the United States Air Force, probably, and we go all over the world demonstrating the capabilities of our modern high-performance aircraft.
But before they get off the ground, they rely on Captain Jay Floatman, a flight surgeon.
When I started applying for medical school, I was looking for a way to pay for it, and the military seemed like a great option. And my goal actually was to get in a fighter squadron. Hey, Sergeant Walker, Dr. Floatman, how are you? All right. And I applied for the job. It's a selective process. I interviewed with a team, and luck would have it, they chose me. Okay, well, I'll fill out your paperwork, but if you don't mind, I'm just going to get some preliminary stuff.
Captain Floatman is responsible for the health of the Thunderbird pilots.
We try to be preventative. We try to maintain their health with regular workout schedules, eating right, and stuff like that. If you just want to roll up your right sleeve for me. And the hardest part is to get those guys to say, hey, Doc, I'm sick. You know, it's hard to get these guys to do that because they're so focused on doing their job, and they love doing it.
Today, he examines Ronnie Walker, who was grounded for 7 days for being congested. After a routine examination,
Okay, big deep breath.
he returns Ronnie Walker to flying status.
And how you feeling now? Good. You ready to get back up flying? Ready to go. Have you sign your 1042 and we'll get you back up. We have no spare pilots. So the guys that fly, if they are not 100% every day, we run the risk of not being able to perform a demonstration, especially if the commander goes down. There's the gauze.
8 a.m. 1 hour before the Thunderbirds take off, Captain Floatman checks the equipment for today's flight.
The equipment that we have here in the life support shop includes the helmet, as you can see, the mask, harness, all the information that's included in the survival kit in case there's an ejection. And everything's in order, and they keep it in tip-top shape here.
8:30. Captain Floatman heads out to the airfield to fly with the Thunderbirds.
One of the biggest killers in the Air Force out in the real world is G, or gravitational induced loss of consciousness, or G-lock. So this is the G-suit, and what happens when the jet experiences G-forces, the pants or the G-suit inflates. And the whole purpose behind that is to squeeze the lower extremities, because all of our blood in our body wants to pool down in our feet when we're pulling those G-forces. So this G-suit will squeeze the lower extremities to try to keep that blood back in our torso so the heart can continue to pump it to the brain.
Captain Floatman will ride in the back of one of the planes as the team runs through their high-risk maneuvers.
Basically what I'm doing back there, part of my job to sit in the back seat is to evaluate the physical demands that every pilot undergoes. I'm there to feel the same things, experience the same things, and then evaluate also how he's doing.
These pilots have up to 12 years' experience, which they rely on as they launch into the sky at 200 miles an hour. The challenge will come in the next hour as they perform a daring flying exercise.
Coincidentally, we have 2 pilots in bush planes who are overdue.
9 a.m. 2 pilots have crashed their planes in the Nevada desert,
They're 2 brown bush planes.
30 miles from Las Vegas.
So that's our objective today, is to locate these 2 ELTs and find the 2 pilots.
Now, 37 officers and volunteers, including EMTs and doctors from the Las Vegas Search and Rescue Team, are going to find them.
Questions?
It's all part of an intense training mission designed to hone their tracking skills.
Just check the system, check your stuff. Same thing.
For volunteers like Denise Fleischman, search and rescue is a way of life, and the training is always ongoing.
Untie, clean it, clear.
As they learn to track injured or lost hikers trapped on mountains, in caves, or in the water.
If you be coming to me, I'll be the victim. Start your assessment at the 25 to 30 foot level after tying off and going hands-free. Good to go? Okay, let's go to work.
Today, Denise will practice rappelling down a 50-foot, 6-story water tower, trying to reach an injured man. A scenario she might encounter for real on a desert rock face. 47-year-old Denise has been a volunteer for 3 years. She's a grandmother of 8.
Okay, over the edge.
And only one of 4 women on the team.
It's kind of helped me more define who I am and what I can do. It really pushes me to the limit.
She works up to 100 hours a year on rescue missions.
Good.
And does another 200 hours of training that includes rappelling and man tracking.
On rappel!
More than 200 people a year apply for the team, but only about 6 make the cut.
It can be very exciting and a lot of fun, but it's very serious.
As I approached my victim, I'm yelling to him, trying to assess a response out of him, see if I had someone conscious or unconscious.
As she descends, she secures her rope so that she can free her hands,
Check for a pulse,
then checks the injured man's airway and breathing.
start an IV, a little bit of O2, depending on what his needs are.
When she establishes that he is breathing, she calls for backup.
On the ground!
When she's not volunteering, Denise works for American Medical Response, an ambulance company. But she makes search and rescue her top priority.
Hey, Mark. I just got a call out for a rescue. Okay, everything's caught up? Head out?
Hey, go for it.
Thanks.
Denise's call takes her deep into the desert, where she joins the training exercise to find the missing pilots.
We'll clear the parking lot here then in a minute.
But even in training, there's nothing routine about this desert expedition.
You're in the terrain where there's no trails. Everything's a hazard. I mean, loose rocks are a hazard, the vegetation's a hazard, animals are a hazard, and the rocks and cliffs are a hazard.
combination of GPS and ELT get a direction where we're heading.
It's also 95 degrees in an exercise that could take several hours.
Once we get rolling, we'll pop the ELTs out the window and we'll see where they're leading us and try
The
to get
search
to
and rescue team face potential dehydration or even sunstroke.
Everybody that goes into the field needs to have their 4 quarts of water and their lunch for the day.
Sergeant Clint Bassett lays out the scenario
Some of you will come back, but we don't know who that is at this point.
and splits the group into 2 teams.
Half of the team going on one ELT and half going on the other. And an ELT is a transmitter that is in all planes. And so when a plane hits the ground too hard, it sets it off. And that's how we find missing pilots and lost aircraft.
You should have it straight up over by that lamppost.
Officer E.P. Brown heads up Team 2. As Team 2 searches,
Okay, listen up real fast. If I don't call your number, let me know.
they will rely on bloodhounds and helicopters to try to find their pilot and bring him to safety.
We're going to follow through this Jeep trail here as close as we can to that signal.
First, they use a map of the area to plan their strategy. 9:30 a.m. Team 2 heads out in search of the ELT.
This way here.
Officer Bill Castle monitors the team's progress as they use a radio receiver to hone in on the ELT.
The operator can tell based on the direction that he's pointing the antenna whether or not the signal is getting stronger or weaker. And based on whether the signal is stronger or weaker, he knows whether he's getting closer to or farther away from the target.
At 10:15, they locate the ELT.
You found it?
There's also an additional clue left by the pilot, a rock arrow to show what direction he headed off
See
in.
the rock arrow?
Looking back, I look forward.
A 4-person group leads the team, searching for more footprints or any other ground disturbance.
Kind of a slow process, but we've been moving right along.
Step by step, they man-track half a mile through the desert. And at 12 p.m., they make a key discovery, a T-shirt.
It's a scent article. It's a T-shirt that they use for the scent of the victim.
Armed with a bloodhound named Extra, they claim the T-shirt and pick up the trail.
It's easier for the dogs to track the scent than it will be for the man-trackers to track. Because it takes hours to man-track for a mile, where a dog can go at the speed of the dog.
It's 2.5 hours since they first headed out, and the clock keeps ticking. Now they're counting on the bloodhound to help lead them to the pilot as the search continues. At 10 a.m., Captain Jay Floatman, a flight surgeon, soars across the skies above Nellis Air Force Base. Part of a practice session by an elite flying squadron, the Thunderbirds. On the ground, Captain Floatman is responsible for the health of these pilots. In the air, he's at their mercy. The pilots of these 6 F-16s practice loops, rolls, and dives at 500 miles an hour, almost the speed of sound. The jets pass within 3 feet of each other. Precision like this means no mistakes. Even a common cold could cause serious inner ear pain and disorientation. So any sign of illness is reason enough to ground a pilot. But the biggest danger they face is extreme gravitational forces. Even with the G-suits, these pilots still experience up to 9 Gs. 9 times the force of gravity, which sends blood rushing away from their head and can cause them to pass out. At 10:45 a.m., Captain Floatman's plane lands.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
Hey. No, it was a great flight. It was a lot of fun. There were no concerns for me medically. I had a great time. I'm very comfortable in the back seat because I'm flying with some of the most highly trained demonstration pilots in the world.
12 p.m., deep in the Nevada desert, Search and Rescue's Team 2 hunts for their missing pilot.
I don't know if he's going on ground scent or air scent.
Search and Rescue finds and treats 125 missing or injured people every year. And this simulated mission is just like the real thing. The team includes trained EMT intermediates. They've been out in the 105-degree heat for almost 3 hours. Dehydration and exhaustion are serious threats. Team 2 has discovered their pilot's T-shirt. Now they use a bloodhound named Extra to sniff out his scent.
And then hopefully the dog will pick up the victim, take us right to him, and then we can start medical.
But Officer Bill Castle says the desert heat is a major obstacle for the trackers.
In order for the dogs to be able to do their job, they have to be able to smell the trail left by the target. Heat kills that smell. And when we're working at 100 to 108, 110 degree temperatures, that smell leaves real quickly.
The heat also exhausts the bloodhound, and by 12:45, Extra can't go any further.
I know we're close, but how close? Is a guess. Well, dog.
As they wait for the new dog, the desert is getting hotter by the minute, and that will make completing their mission even tougher than before.
Come on, which way to go?
(10 p.m.) Night has fallen on this 240-mile off-road desert race 50 miles from Las Vegas. The race started with 78 cars, but due to the punishing conditions, more than 10 have already dropped out. As they race along at speeds of 100 miles an hour or more, the drivers can only see half a mile in front of them. Paramedic Keith Jones and safety technician Gina Meredith prowl the pit areas.
We're in Pit C Charlie, which is one of the more southern and western parts of the course. It's probably the most remote part of the course.
This is where crews service the cars and keep in touch with the drivers.
He's 3 minutes off his pace.
11 p.m. A car pulls over for a routine stop, and Bill Rice, one of the pit crew, falls on the hard gravel.
Whoa! You all right? One of the guys from the other pits came over, and the way they saw it up there, they thought poor Bill got run over here.
Yeah.
Bill retreats to his truck, where Gina works on his bloody elbows and knees.
You having pain when you lift your leg? No. None? I have much cooler things to play with.
She cleans out and covers his scrapes, and Bill is back in racing shape.
I think he'll be all right.
They laugh off the incident, but they might not be laughing for long.
What I need... No more running. Your medical advice is no more running.
Down the race course with race cars coming.
Thank you, man. And if you do, watch for rocks. Okay.
The next call they get could be serious. And with 80 miles to go, there's still plenty of chances for a crash.
That's all we do all night, I'll be happy.
11:30, Keith and Gina head back out on the course, not knowing what else could be down the road. As midnight approaches, they continue to make their rounds.
Huge pothole ripped the skid plate off like that, and we said, nah, we're done.
As the last 35 drivers push toward the final lap. They've gone more than 200 miles, and luckily, no one's been hurt so far. At 1 a.m., the winner crosses the finish line, and Keith lets his crew know that it's time to go home.
Okay, I guess we're going to go then. We'll see you guys in a little while.
Today, they got lucky. But this is just one of 60 races run every year. Next month, they'll be back on this course for another race to face the same off-road dangers one more time.
Right out there. He's got the scent article. Okay. Just go ahead and circle your dog there and start.
1 p.m. A bloodhound named Elvis joins the search and rescue team. They head out in search of the crashed pilot, who's been lost for almost 4 hours. The longer it takes, the colder the trail becomes. Their search has already taken them 3 miles from where they started, but Elvis seems to be closing in. Within half a mile, Elvis leads the search and rescue team straight to their target. Volunteer Denise Fleischman uses her EMT training as an EMT intermediate to stabilize the patient.
He's delirious.
The next phase of the rescue mission is about to begin.
Disoriented.
4 miles away, the search and rescue helicopter crew gets the call.
Team 2, they just located the victim down here below the 6-mile curves. He's in critical condition. Get ready for a Huey evac.
It takes them about 3 minutes to reach the injured pilot. 2 p.m. 4.5 hours into the mission, 5 team volunteers rappel down from 35 feet above.
Heart rate's 82, strong and regular. Blood pressure is 90 by palpation because we have a radial pulse. Lung temperature 30 bilaterally at approximately 18. I have to come this way. You're fine. Yeah, we got enough on this side. We're putting the patient into a kit at this time. We have a seat collar on.
Now they have to get the injured pilot out of the desert.
They're going to drop the litter, and we'll retrieve the litter, package up the patient.
1, 2, 3.
We'll move the patient to an area where they can hook the litter back up and haul him up into the helicopter.
It's 2:45 p.m., and Team 2 has completed their mission in 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Feels good to have it finished and ahead of the other team. So our victim lived.
Team 1 lost the trail of their pilot. If this rescue were real, he might already be dead.
It was really difficult. So you got within 100 yards.
Landed on it, Johnson Tree.
Sergeant Clint Bassett evaluates what each group did wrong and what they did right.
You guys did a good job tracking those tracks down. I didn't think that you would get those tracks. Okay, we may not be done for today. Guys, talk about the dog while I make a phone call. We got a missing hiker.
That was practice. But next time, the mission could be real. And if it is, the search and rescue team will be ready.
We learned a lot about our capabilities. We learned a lot about the skills of the team.
Do another quick set of vital signs, do another quick set of lung sounds. Let's reevaluate them before we start moving them.
We know what these guys can do now in those actual situations.
Good radial strong calls.
Great.
So when it comes time to, kick in and do what needs to be done while they're there, they're in great shape. Anything else? That's it? You guys did a good job.
They hope that every training mission helps prepare them for what lies ahead. The real desert dangers. That could erupt at any moment.
Going eastbound again.